Today's video is all about GFAL, Games for a Living, Play the Future. In today's video, we're going to be doing a deep dive looking into this project, its fundamentals, the team, the overall value proposition, and if at the end of the day, we should be buying into this project as we speak. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities such as GFAL, Games for a Living. Guys, today's video is going to be that deep dive looking into the fundamentals. Like, we're going to be answering some of the questions. We're going to be looking for some of the information that could get us fundamentally bullish. And of course, right now is the best time to be doing this research, because as we go sideways, we have time. We have time to actually look into these really good projects that potentially could be some good gainers for the up and coming bull run. We're going to be using this website. We're going to be using the website as our platform to kind of navigate this project. I'm going to be going through it. You know, I'll be giving you my overall 2 cents about what I feel as we go through it. We're going to be analyzing the website if it is a good way of demonstrating some of the details that we're looking for as potential, you know, network investors. We want to get into this network or this ecosystem. They better give us the information we need. All right, let's begin. Let's kind of scroll through this and let's see what we can find so far. Guys, as a first impression, guys, really good. I love the engagement here. Lots of good graphics, lots of good color, and overall nice and clear, perfect landing page type of thing here happening right now. Discover our games. You can get quickly into their catalog of games, and of course GFAL is exactly that. Basically a studio, a gaming studio that produces games, many different games, not just one, many different games. And going forward, they are planning on having a marketplace where we can get all involved in selling and buying and selling at NFTs or in-game assets, for that matter, that, you know, could potentially bring another level of an ecosystem, an economic ecosystem that could drive the GFAL token in the right direction, which is up. Okay, we're going to take a look at that in a little bit more detail. We'll look at the overall value proposition here, of course, and how it sets itself apart from its competitors. And of course, a lot of us are thinking of GFAL, and then looking at what type of competitor could GFAL have right now. And of course, most of us are comparing GFAL with Gala Games. And we're going to talk about Gala Games. We're going to kind of compare it. We're going to see if GFAL has the potential to meet such a large market cap as, you know, Gala Games. And at the end of the day, you know, if GFAL does as well, could GFAL be one of those top gainers? Honestly, guys, it looks pretty good. So let's continue going down. We can see, again, a well-crafted website. We craft innovative, engaging, and timeless games by using the latest technology. So these are the games they have right now. I think they have a fifth one, but it could still be in release. So Elemental Raiders right now is their main one. They have Diamond Dreams, which looks interesting. Jump, which is Jump Pump, which looks pretty cool. And Soccer Legends, guys. This is an interesting one, given that one of the team members is an ex-EA Sports CEO. So something to be really aware of is this team. We're going to talk about the team. We're going to get in a lot more details, but just let's scroll through this and see what we got. And of course, we'll go look at that infographic that I prepared for you guys. After each dive, we're going to take a look at that. And of course, I'll make that infographic available to you on the socials. So if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. And of course, the Discord. It's a great place and time. In fact, that infographic is already posted on the Discord. So go check it out. So what else do we have here? Some news. Overall, the website is nice and clean, nice and simple, nothing too cluttery. And pretty good so far. We have some nice features, meaning IGN, routers, Forbes, CoinDesk. Of course, I expect this. The team is a heavyweight and very well connected and well known in the gaming space. So it's definitely going to have some pull with regards to some of these outlets, these news outlets. Okay, so that's a good thing. You can sign up for their newsletter. They have Discord, X, Twitter, Telegram, and this is probably email or something like that. I have no idea what that is, but looking pretty good. All the basic socials. But speaking of the socials, you know, obviously I am doing the research. I am trying to figure things out, trying to find some information. And I went on the Discord and on the Telegram, obviously, and trying to ask some questions. And there's not much engagement, unfortunately. There's no one really there speaking about the project or able or available to answer any questions. So that's a very unfortunate thing. You know, we want a little bit of engagement in these very niche or grassroots type of outlets like Discord. That community is should be very tight and very active, and all individuals that are interested in the project are going to go there to get those very small details that they're looking for that the website doesn't really offer. But given, guys, this is probably the best website with regards to information that I've seen so far. It's amazing. Like, honestly, let me show you what I mean. So at the bottom here, you have a bit of the all the games that they have: Elemental Raiders, Diamond Dreams, all the ones that we discussed. They're all here if you want more details on the release, on what they're up to, what how to download, because all of them are on different phases of launch pretty much. So go check that out. Company, if you want to know a little bit about them, the careers, the white papers is there, so we're going to take a look at that. Security, identity verification, general desk disclosure, and then contact. Okay, fine. What I want to do is click this white paper. Now, if you get into the white paper, it's not a typical white paper. It's powered by Gitbook, so it's a very interactive type of document, which I kind of like. I kind of like that because it makes things a little bit easier to get organized and get your ideas out there. But if you look here on the left hand side, you have the legend, or the overall way you can navigate this white paper, which is amazing, because again, white papers can get a little bit too detailed and overwhelming. But if you go right here and you go to entities and individuals involved in games for a living, guys, if you click this is where you're going to get a lot of information about the team. Okay, there's more obviously information that you could do, because you can get into, there's another area where you can find more about the team, but nonetheless, this is where you're going to get the major heavyweights and a lot about the overall team here. And you'll notice that the team is a very, very, very strong team. It's probably the strongest team that I've seen so far in all the deep dives that I've been doing so far. And you can see that we have experience across the board with regards to gaming. You have this one right here, Mantel Sort, co-founder and CEO of Games for a Living. He has more than 20 years experience, but the best part is he is a former VP at Activision Blizzard King and GM King, so Barcelona studio. So this project, or this team, looks like it's coming out of Europe, out of Barcelona, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. This experience at Blizzard King is amazing. Apps, Candy Crush, if I'm not mistaken, and Activision Blizzard, we know, is another type of very similar type of studio that creates games, many different games, not just one. So this is a good thing. They have experience. We have Mantel Sort on board, which is really, really good. And then we have, again, straight to Trip Hawkins, another co-founder, of course, founder and former CEO of both Electronic Arts and Digital Chocolate. Electronic Arts, guys, EA Sports. Guys, if you're into FIFA or any EA type of game, you know that even FIFA, for example, they have a very large economy. They already have an in-game economy that is using the FIFA tokens. I think they're called the FIFA coins or something like that. Nonetheless, you know that you can buy packs, you can spend real fiat for packs and convert those into coins, and then with those coins you can buy packs and players and so on and so forth. So I feel like this overall experience that EA Sports, in this case EA in general, building an economy, a gaming economy, is really, really valuable for Games for a Living going forward, because it's the best way to tokenize. If you think about it, having that experience will allow them to translate that experience into tokenization. So perfect, great team so far. And then if you keep on going down, we have Javier Leon, which is a heavyweight in CGI and all of the art direction that he has in the studios, which is good. I think he's part of the Diablo team that created the artwork and a few best, basically some good nominations or credits or awards. Guys, pretty good stuff. And if you keep on scrolling down, it keeps on going. Co-founder and game director, 14 years, ex-Blizzard Entertainment, keeps on going and going and going and going. So guys, obviously, this website, as you can see, gives you a lot of information. They're fully linked on the LinkedIn, so you can go check that out. I think there's another page here. As we go through, we'll probably find it. There's another page with the links itself. So as we get there, we'll probably take a look. Games for a Living token. Now, if you want to know about the token, guys, you can see that they have the technical features and uses and benefits. You want to get technical, you're more than welcome to go there. If you want to get uses, which most of us really want to exactly how can we use GFAL? What is the utility behind the token? And the reason why I'm calling it a token, I'll just back it up a little bit, is because it's built on Binance chain, BNB chain. And some people might frown upon that. I wouldn't look at that as a negative by any means. I would be looking at that mostly as a positive, given the fact that the trading fees are going to be nice and low. If you want microtransactions on the game, you don't want to be paying massive trading fees. So that's a pretty positive thing in my book. Binance Smart Chain has been doing very, very good with many other projects. So, of course, one of those benefits that a lot of us like about BNB chain is the fact that, again, those fees are nice and low and allowing us to get in and out without any barriers or friction upon buying and selling. So that's a good thing. Okay, back to what this token is all about. Obviously, GFAL has different uses. They basically separate them in 3 tiers: GFAL for developers, GFAL for players, and GFAL for governance, which, guys, is really, really good in the sense that there's clear definition of what this token is going to be used for. Okay, so for developers, Web3 gaming tools and marketplace. In this case, they're able to integrate this token within their marketplace and their gaming tools, which allows them ultimately to potentially make some profit or basically get involved into the ecosystem and get rewarded and use the GFAL token as a currency. Very, very good. GFAL for players. Now, of course, each game as they're developed are going to be able to integrate their own way of using the GFAL token, whether it be for basically, gaming, for buying assets, in-game assets as NFTs, which of course a lot of us are looking forward to seeing that happen, a robust economy of different assets within a game. Play to earn is a hot topic, of course. As you play, you may be rewarded with some GFAL tokens. You can buy assets and maybe allow other people to use those assets in a very staking-like form and get rewarded for allowing others to use your assets, very similar to like staking. I feel like ultimately gaming is going to be the best use case so far for NFTs. And why not see games for a living actually show us the real way on what NFTs as use case could be? I feel like the previous NFTs that we had, just the JPEGs were a proof of concept. Being able to put digital artwork on the blockchain. Now, what if we extend that further? Artwork that has use, that has functionality within a virtual environment, which is gaming, guys, which is gaming. So imagine that you're a soccer player on a FIFA game and you want to buy a jersey, you want to buy a new pair of shoes, you want to buy a new pair of shin guards, you get my drift. At the end of the day, those are all in-app assets that you can apply to your team or your player or whatever the case may be, and they all could be governed on a marketplace that is free and open and decentralized for everybody to use, which is good because ultimately you're going to be able to have ownership of your own in-game assets, right? So that for me is a very positive thing, given the fact that the turnover rate with in-game assets is pretty much seasonal. Every time there's a new update to the game, every couple of years there's a new version of the game, you lose all your in-game assets. And that's a very unfortunate thing. And if in this case they're able to keep the economy perpetual, where all those assets basically have a lifespan of forever because you're the owner of those assets and you can integrate them back into any version of the game, guys, that would be amazing. So let's see how they're going to do this. Let's see how they're going to integrate this idea into their games. But again, the GFAL used for players at the end of the day is all dependent on the nature of the game and how they integrate in the game. There's a lot of use cases for tokens in games, and obviously it's about the creativity and the implementation that they choose. So let's see what they have up their sleeve to make us engaged here and get us going. Okay, so GFAL, games for a living governance. Of course, if you're a holder, you're going to have the ability to vote on certain decision making that's going to happen on the ecosystem, and let's see what happens here, because there's a little bit with regards to tokenomics that I'm concerned with. Nothing too major, but a little bit. And of course, I'm expecting governance to be a big part of that equation. Okay, so let's move forward. So far, so good. Used for developers, and you can click each category and get into a little bit more detail here, which is pretty good if you want to get into that deeper dive. Obviously, I'm giving you a nice superficial deep dive so that we can get the gist of all of this. But if you want more, obviously, do that research, guys. Get fundamentally bullish on this project because I believe that it has great potential for the up and coming bull run. All right, let's continue here. Information on issuance of GFAL. So we're getting to a little bit of the distribution, the token distribution. tokenomics, all of that kind of stuff, user data. Okay, let's get into what we're really looking for. Look at this management, a lot of detail. You know what, it's almost like they have a lot of experience in this type of field, and that for me is a bonus. They are laying out all the data that we need in order to make a decision on whether this project is bullish or not. It's almost like serving it to us on a silver platter. Guys, this is probably the easiest deep dive that I've ever done, because they just give you all the info, and that for me is a sign of confidence and a sign of knowledge, and at the end of the day, experience. And that's the type of team that at the end of the day you want to get involved with. And for me, it alleviates some of that risk. Remember, I always talk about risk management. Enemy number one, public enemy number one. I posted this on Twitter yesterday. Risk. 100%. Now, if you do have a strong team with a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, like and obviously clearly knows what a customer wants to see or an investor wants to see, guys, that is a bonus. That is a really good thing. If you feel like you're in good hands, okay? So I'm not trying to, blow this up too much and, pump it up too much, but it's the reality, okay? So let's continue. Information on token sale. So this will give you a little bit about, the tokens that were in release. So the distribution of the tokens and the vesting periods and the token unlocks that are basically like the public sale and all of that. And basically they have a schedule. Basically there's a schedule here, and this page, what it does is tells you, like, for example, private sale of the 10 billion GFAL tokens used for games for a living, sell up to a total of 50% will be sold privately to a private sale. Okay, fine. 2% of tokens from pre-sale, and you can see 50% of all tokens, 2% of tokens, GFAL. You can read this on your own, of course, but you can see that there's a lot with regards to tokens, the token unlocks, and the overall distribution. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, they kind of give you those points nice and clearly, and you can see that you have how many are issued, at what price, maximum, minimums, a vesting, release, when they're going to be unlocked, and what's the schedule for the unlock. Guys, that is very clear. You can't get clearer than this. So take a look, because this is actually really necessary if you want to know how the price may be diluted by issuing new tokens or releasing new tokens to the market. Guys, that's one of the biggest negatives right now that a lot of people are talking about with regards to games to a living, is that it is still very young. There's not a lot of tokens in distribution in comparison to its max market cap, max token size. So in that case, there is a potential for dilution, right? As they unlock tokens, as they release tokens to the overall market, you're going to see that there's going to be negative pressure on the price, and that's something that we have to expect. That's something that we have to be prepared for. Okay, so that's very important. While I have this right in my face, you can see that there's a few partnerships that we need to be aware of. Seedify is very clearly one of them, and Engine Starter is definitely one. And now Bit2Me, I didn't really see that, but nonetheless, I did see Engine Starter as a partnership and Seedify, and both those are launch pads. Both of them are launch pads, and they do have a lot of, let's say, a pull in the gaming narrative. So for me, that's a good thing. Those are good launch pads to get the general public all involved and get them into the projects nice and early. So Engine Starter and Seedify, good partnerships overall, and getting that exposure out there to the general market. Now, with that said, if you look at their roadmap, which we're going to get to in a second, it has a lot to do with their phase right now. It seems to be very heavy with regards to launching, getting games out there. Okay, getting games out there is going to be an important thing, especially when you're referring to the tokens. Okay, we know we don't have a huge supply out there. Let's look at the token distribution for a second. Let's see if we can see this. See, we're pretty early here. Now, this is really hard to read. I know it's all cluttered up here, but you can see that we are slowly getting into a phase. This project is only like 4 months old or something like that. And as tokens get unlocked, you're going to see that more tokens are going to hit the market, and that's clear. And a lot of individuals right now are a bit negative about that. But you have to understand that we're talking about an overall catalog of games that are going to be released by some very big names in the industry. So it's very likely, like we've been seeing already, as we've been having token unlocks already, the tokens get absorbed really quickly. Why? Because the market is bullish on this project. So if tokens hit the market, they're going to get bought up real quick, real quick, like they have been already. Not to say that we can't get a bit of a correction, not to say that we can't come down to lower levels to be able to buy in at lower levels. I'm just saying overall, the overall sentiment for this project is bullish, and that directly relates to the fact that all the tokens that are getting unlocked as the vesting periods suggest are getting bought up really quickly. So I know that it sounds like a lot of tokens. We're talking about 10 billion tokens, when it's fully diluted, but could this ecosystem be so massive that at the end of the day, it could be the biggest player in the game, given that they have the biggest names in the game already? Could it be the biggest gaming project out there? And if it is, 10 billion tokens are absolutely acceptable, because you're going to have a multi-billion-dollar gaming company ultimately, like EA Sports is, and all these Blizzard and all these other ones that the team came from. So they probably think that, that's their vision, is to be the head gaming company. And if they are the head gaming company, 10 billion units is nothing. 10 billion units is nothing. So let's look at this a little bit. So I feel like at the end of the day, we have a bit of a distribution that, is a bit aggressive in the beginning. We're going to see a lot of tokens hit the market. I'm hoping that there's a lot of bullishness given the fact that they're releasing games and the utility of the token gets absorbed. It absorbs all the tokens as they get released, because they already have 4 games in the works going out there. So that's really good. Now, if you look at the token distribution, there's only one thing that's really concerning is that the overall team holds a significant amount. It's about 18%, and then the foundation holds about 15%. So 18% and 15% is about 33%. So for me, that's a bit problematic, because the foundation and the team, although the foundation could be governed by a smart contract in the sense that you're going to have to vote, or I don't think it's a DAO at this level. I'm not sure what's going on there, because they're going to have some sort of voting based on stake tokens. I'm aware of that, and they made it clear. But at the end of the day, are going to use a third party who we know that the team already holds 18%, and who knows how many more on the side if they open it up, if they bought it in the open market. And this is the thing here, guys. Now, I'm not trying to spread any FUD or negativity here, but you can see on the pie chart, the team holds a significant amount of the tokens, okay? And so does the foundation. To a degree of centralization, they still have a little bit of push and sway as to how these foundation tokens get spent, okay? Even though they're locked, and you can see there's token unlocks, and this is the vesting period of each one, and all of that kind of stuff. So you can check out exactly how they're going to be released into the market, and how the average month unlock, and how they're going to put pressure on the price. But we're anticipating, but based on the history and the team and the bullishness behind this project, that those tokens will get totally absorbed. But again, the team 18%, foundation 15%, 18 and 15, 33, and then you'll have your overall marketing. Where is that? Marketing only 7.5%. That's a little small in my opinion. I would like to see a little bit more. 10 to 15 would be awesome, right? Given the fact that they want to get this thing going. Now, are they hoping that overall their name could be the marketing? Could it be that their names are the marketing? That they're already so big in the industry that they're going to get, some low-level type of marketing going, grassroots marketing, and overall blow up like wildfire? It could be possible that that's what they're hoping on, but at the end of the day, it's very low for a crypto project traditionally. Okay, so 7.5%, and the team, taking a big portion, and the foundation taking a big portion, and then you have a reserve, and then you have liquidity. Okay, fine, that's already public sale. Okay, fine, it's only a small sliver. Private sales 15%. So you're going to have some whales in there. You're going to basically some sort of venture capitalists maybe be buying in that zone. 15% of them are going to have a good portion. How many individuals are bought into this private sale? And the reserve, what is this reserved for? So we need a little bit more detail, and guess what? They have it. They have a bit of detail right here. Let me scroll down quick to see. Nothing more than this overall vesting schedule, so go check it out. But you can see private sale. If you get in here, it talks about, and they give you the smart contract address to verify whether those tokens are locked up and how they're being used, and all the transactions, which is really good. The public sale, a bit of a talk. 2% of the entire token supply will be sold during the private sale launch. 33% of the token purchased by the users through launch pads will be unlocked at the time of public listing. So good. Liquidity, what's out there? Binance Custody, Gains for a Living, will reserve 10% of the total supply of liquidity in order to maintain a healthy market share. Okay, fine. Going out to, so you can see they're locking up significant amount. And my question is, who's going to be governing all those tokens that are locked up? Well, I guess it's all going to be about the people that are staking, right? They're going to have voting power in that case. The team 18%. We talked about that, and the vesting, the lockup period is about 12 months. So and about 108 months. So something to be aware of. Is the team going to dump on the market? I don't think so, guys. I think there's some really big names here that wouldn't want to have their reputation tarnished, and that's my opinion. Obviously, you can't trust anybody, but it would be a sad way to kind of get out there and get that negativity, right? Advisors, so they have a little bit of a budget to give to their advisors, which, okay, fine. If you actually absolutely need some external support, advisors are great for sure. The developers, and to incentivize developers to get into the community, technology partners to join the platform, so that's good. Foundation, so you can see that they have it really planned out, nice and clear, exactly where things are going. But for me, it's all about the foundation will retain 50% of all the supply and be used for a variety of purposes. Who dictates what here? What's the value? What's the variety of purposes, and who makes that decision, right? Rewarding adopters and developers and all of that. So it's a bit of a budget to kind of be free and allow the foundation to make choices of where those get basically sent off to. But again, it's gonna all be with regards to voting, and they do have the smart contract address. They have the vesting smart contract, so it's audited and all of that. So that's, at least they're trying to show us, look, we're trying to be clear. The foundation's going to hold 50%, but we're going to be transparent about it, and we're going to do it properly. So let's see. And at the end of the day, you got to understand one thing. These guys are coming in from a perspective of business, not necessarily of development. Completely. They know their worth, they know their value, and they know what they're capable of creating here, what kind of business they're willing to create, able to create. They're heavyweights in the market. They're an all-star team that know what they're capable of. So in this case, they're saying, no, look, we want to make sure that we run this thing like a business. We need some, of the capital to do this and to do that and to do this, and to make those 10 billion tokens worth something. Because if you think about it, 10 billion tokens, even at a $1 level, you're looking at a $10 billion evaluation fully diluted. That's a great, that's a huge project. We're talking about top tier altcoins, large cap altcoin, right? So think about it. We'll talk about the tokenomics. We'll talk about the potential. We'll talk about, the fully diluted, what this project could be evaluated as, and what we're going to compare it to, Gala Games or something like that. So we're going to take a look at that. So we have marketing, obviously, reserve. You guys can go through that. And there's a lot of transparency. I like that. The contract is clear. You can go check out the programming behind it, exactly how everything is stipulated, and all of that good stuff. So go check it out. Pretty good. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but you can definitely spend an afternoon doing tons and tons of research and crunching some numbers to see what you think. But again, overall, just to be quick, the amount of tokens that are in circulation are probably the biggest issue that a lot of people have. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So we have some legal notices, okay, warnings in terms and conditions. Go read those. Obviously, we know our limitations here in the crypto space. A bit of a wild, wild west. So we really have to understand that. Let's take a look at this roadmap. The roadmap, guys, nice check marks. Boom, boom, boom. Going through it really quickly. White papers, tokenomics, all of that. Very clear. Hitting all those milestones. Hitting all those main things. And if you notice, as we get to the tail end of all these check marks, we start to get into a very launch level, really looking into launch, pre-alpha, launch. So what they really want to do is start launching on mobile, launching on different platforms, getting into that multi-platform phase, right? For me, that's all about distribution of the product and service that they have going, and the ecosystem growing and the network growing by distributing on all of these different platforms. Like if we're going on PlayStation, we're going on Xbox, we're going on Android, we're going on, you get what I mean, right? So getting on that Play Store, guys, would be bullish, right? So we got to see exactly where they're going with this, and we can see that I feel like the overall launching aspect is where they're at. So all the power to them, guys. They're doing a great job. They're doing what they got to do. They're being very transparent with where they want to get going, and this team definitely knows what they want, and they are willing to basically be very transparent about their goals. So all the power to them. Pretty good. Okay, so we covered quite a bit here. A lot of the questions, a lot of the things that we really want to look at and know about. Of course, let's take a look at what CoinGecko has to offer us for a second. We have a market cap at about 16 billion units, a million units, $16 million market cap. Sorry, $16 million market cap. It's a baby right now. If you're looking at market cap, it's a baby. Now, if looking at fully diluted, currently it's at $228 million. Guys, that is still very small, right? It's still small. Like some people might say it's big already. Yeah, it's big for its age. It's only been around for few months. And it's big for its age. I get it, fully diluted, right? But nonetheless, we got to understand the value proposition here. And the value proposition is that there's the team. The team is amazing. Like at the end of the day, you can expect these guys knowing how to distribute and release profitable games. They've done it in the past multiple times. Guys, go check out that LinkedIn account of all those main contributors to the team, and you will see that they have the experience and they have the know-how how to get it happening. So for me, that's a positive thing. But in the short term, you can say that it's slightly expensive given the fact it's only 4 months old. So it's all about how much you value that business. That's basically it. Okay, so circulating supply, you see that it's only 700 million units, okay, circulating supply, while the total supply is 10 billion. So that's about 7%, give or take, of the total supply. That is very, very little. Extremely little in comparison to what's going to happen when they start slowly unlocking and bringing more tokens in distribution. This is what people fear, is that overall the price will be diluted and the price will be held back and held down over a long period of time until we see a lot of these tokens in distribution and the overall supply kind of the supply kind of balances out and reduces the amount of tokens entering circulation. So this is one of the biggest issues, that people are not willing to get in so early. Okay, but this is an argument that's been happening for the last few months. You know, each token unlock, people are expecting this thing to come down. But guess what, guys? It barely comes down. In fact, it keeps on going up. So this is something we're going to talk about. We'll take a look at the price action in a second. But overall, this is one of the issues that a lot of us have. I feel like this deep dive was a very, very easy deep dive, given the fact that they did a great job presenting all the information. Okay, guys, as usual, I do prepare a nice infographic for you guys. So let's talk about this thing for a second. Okay, so we're going to talk about the overview. Games for a Living, of course, is a gaming, let's call it catalog of games. It is a studio that releases many games, and they plan on, you know, being in tune with their past and their experience in providing games that basically last and have memorable experiences. So for me, that's a really positive thing. Players can make money at GFAL by basically streaming their gameplay. They're going to have a marketplace where they can get involved that way, winning tournaments, generating in-game currency, or testing and providing feedback to new games. And of course, the games itself, play to earn, all of that. I'm sure that this is going to be a very bullish idea and narrative going forward, especially with the fact that we are trying to get NFTs an actual use case rather than just images. And I think Games for a Living does value that a value proposition. Okay, so for me, that's a good thing. It's ecosystem, already 4 games out there, pretty good. It's not just one, there's 4, and they're only 4 months old, and they're working hard to get this going. And if it's going to be any team, it's going to be this team to generate the proper marketing that's necessary. The utility, we talked about that, you know, used for developers. Developers have the opportunity to engage in that economy by using Games for a Living within the tools, which is very useful for developers because they can also earn their own passive income and get involved into that economy. For players, of course, as we talked about, players are going to be able to get involved into the marketplace, maybe play to earn, and so on and so forth. And the governance, obviously this is the governance, and for me this is a bit of a thing that I'm hoping that this governance will definitely give a bit of clarity to the foundation tokens, which is about 15% of the token allocation, which is a significant amount for the foundation. But as long as they're transparent and allow individuals that are holders to get involved into governing where those tokens go, I think that might be okay. And again, guys, we have to understand Games for a Living is a business. They are treating it as a business, and if you are bullish on the business leadership and on the potential and the connections and the network that they've established throughout their careers, guys, they can blow this project up big time. So I'm saying that ultimately we need a top tier gaming company. Could Games for a Living be the leader in the industry, given the fact that the team are or were or still are leaders in the industry? So something to be really aware of is that the founders are former VPs and CEOs of Blizzard, King, Electronic Arts, and basically involved in a lot of different other popular gaming, big gaming tech companies. So this is a good thing. I give that team 10 out of 10. I give the ecosystem so far for its size, good effort, 10 out of 10. Utility, of course, 10 out of 10. And the roadmap, very clear. You saw that, check marks and hitting all milestones as they progress through the development of this project. So 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 across the board. On the social aspect, Okay, the X followers, okay, pretty good. They're getting there, 50,000 followers, which is good for their size. In fact, is a bit bigger and a bit more than I've seen in other projects that, are older and have a lot more time into the space. So that's pretty good. I see a little bit in the 30 days, there's a bit of follower decrease, which is absolutely normal, guys. We know that we're in a bear market. We know that we're in a transitionary phase, potentially into the bull market that is around the corner. And crypto right now is at its lowest engagement levels. So what could we expect? They're not going to go against the grain. They're going to they are hurting with regards to social engagement. But what I do like is in the last 30 days, at least their tweets are up or their X posts are up 50%. So they're still trying and still hustling to get some of that action there on the socials. The only thing that I didn't really like, and it's part of my verdict there, is that the Discord and the Telegram doesn't have much activity. I went on there to ask some questions and I didn't get any feedback or any response from anyone. So usually you get a response from, some fans or some individuals that are bullish, of course. And ultimately you start to wait around for someone from the team to come in and chime in and maybe give you some factual information. None of that happened. So that's my first time experience doing the deep dives. This is, I think, my 10th one that I've done so far. I release one every week on a Sunday, and this is the first time I've never got a response from anybody. So that's not a really good thing. I don't feel like that's a positive thing. So in my opinion, I think GFAL, Games for a Living, should get somebody on board, get a team member or hire some communications officer to get in there and get some engagement going at the grassroots levels. I know it costs money. I get it, especially right now. Marketing dollars are scarce, but you got to get going with those individuals that are building. Currently, the people that are in crypto are currently hardcore. These are the people that are that understand the value proposition in blockchain, and they're the ones that are going to hold your price on any retracement. So you got to invest in those individuals because they're the ones that are going to really hold up the token price. So I think that engagement with regards to socials needs a bit of attention, basically. Okay, let's move on. The roadmap, we talked about that. Perfect. The socials, tokenomics, guys. So again, back to that, 7.16% of circulating supply, and the rest still need to be unlocked and distributed. Guys, there's a bit of negativity of there, of course. No one can deny it, but this is a new project. What else do you want? It's a new project and it's proof of stake. So at the end of the day, there's got to be some sort of, token release or schedule or emission schedule type of thing, right? There's got to be some vesting periods and token unlocks. What else? How else do you expect it to be released? So we got to understand that. Well, all we could expect is that the team keeps on working on this project to the point that those 4 games keep on adding utility and use case for those tokens, and people keep on buying the tokens because they want to keep on playing those games. That's all it is. So the amount of tokens are not that important if there's utility, if there's a strong utility and a strong community willing to buy those tokens in order to utilize them within the ecosystem. And those 4 games are where it's at. Okay, if they do play to earn, remember Axie Infinity, right? Those tokens ran hot because there was utility. During COVID, people wanted to get active and earn passive income doing gaming, and there was a lot of people that did that during COVID. So at the end of the day, this is what I'm talking about. Let those 4 games see how much pull they have, and if they can basically absorb all the tokens as we see the tokens getting unlocked. And so far, we've been seeing that. Tokens are getting unlocked. We get maybe a slight correction, and they get bought up so quick that we, in fact, have been getting higher highs. We'll talk about the price action very soon. So 7% of circulating supply, yes, it's a negative. Yes, we got to be aware of. Yes, there's a bit of risk there of dilution, but at the end of the day, something to be considered. Another area of risk that bothers me a little bit, the team holds 18%. That's a significant amount. And there's a few other portions of tokens that are locked up. And again, I don't really like that because who is in control of those tokens? How are they going to be allocated, especially the foundation tokens? Are we going to do voting systems? How is the voting system going to be created or implemented? Is it going to be a third party? Are they going to implement the DAO? Or there's a lot of questions here when you're talking about foundation tokens. And those are usually foundation tokens. When I read that, it's usually the gray area. That is a very, very, it's like the junk drawer at the top of your desk. That's the gray, what goes there, who's involved, who's in charge of it, what belongs in it, you know what I mean? And for me, that's not very clear. So nonetheless, I'm not trying to spread FUD here, but I would have liked a little bit more clarity here. And how else are, at the end of the day, how else are they going to have a budget for general foundational type of tasks? So you got to put yourself in their shoes as well. They want to have a bit of a till to be able to deploy some capital where the foundation feels fit. But who's governing the foundation? And I want more clarity on that. I'm sure there could be some jargon or some sort of technicals behind the foundation, but at the end of the day, a bit more clarity would be great. Partnerships, Engine Starter and Seedify, guys. I try to look for more to see if they were involved with any more. I found Engine Starter and Seedify, guys, both bullish partnerships, and regardless, this is where the phase that they're in with their roadmap. So if you look at their roadmap, they're definitely in deployment phase. They want to deploy games, use case, building the ecosystem, providing a purpose for utility, so that you can absorb the tokens. And I think that's exactly what they're looking at, and that is what the actual economy needs here, is utility, more use case. So this is why those 10 billion tokens could be absorbed, because they're focusing on launching. And with those partnerships on Engine Start and Seedify, they're almost basically securing the possibility of getting great launches going, okay, early on in the phase of their life cycle. Only a few months old, and they're already blasting out games like it's nobody's business. So this is pretty good here overall. These partnerships are bullish, and they're very, very strategic. Okay, on the exchange side of things, of course, it's only listed on Mexi, Bitmart, and BitGet. And now I say only because at the end of the day, these are smaller exchanges. They have lower liquidity, low volume, and as soon as we see them Gain for a Living being basically listed on other exchanges, we can get a lot more volume and traction there. Now, it could be seen as both a negative and a positive, of course, like I usually say. You might say, well, this is a good thing because we're early. But then again, the liquidity is not there because you're so early. And if you want to buy and sell, there's no liquidity. And the trading volume, although, given the fact that it's only on Mexi, Bitmart, and BitGet, is pretty good. So let's look at the coin info for a second. Right now, it's trading at about 2.2 cents. Market cap, 16 million. Very, very small. Trading volume is decent, 10%. I like between 10 to 50% trading volume. It tells you it's an active community. There's liquidity. There's buying and sell pressure. If you want to buy, if you want to sell, you'll have the liquidity to get engaged and get involved in the market. So for me, that's really important, because you don't want to be there with a honeypot and not being able to buy or sell, and then you're stuck with holding the bag. Unfortunate, but this is pretty good. This is good, 10% of movement. Supply, again, only 7% of the circulating supply. It's only 7% of the max supply. Very, very little. We talked about this already, and the max supply is 10 billion tokens. I think that they know, these heavyweights know, that if they become the main gaming company out there, and I'm saying main by getting maybe into who knows, maybe Cardano levels, right? $5 billion market cap levels, $10 billion market cap levels. Remember, the market is still growing. We're analyzing the market right now as we are, or even previous bull run numbers. If we do that, we're basically not insinuating that this market, the crypto market, won't exceed the $3 trillion market cap of the last bull run. That, for me, is a problematic way of thinking. You got to think that we're at least going to get to $5 billion. At least let's get to a higher level. Let's make a higher high on the total market cap. And if that's the case, I'm expecting all projects to do well. And if Gain for a Living is looking to be that top dog in the gaming field, I'm expecting some good stuff here. So let's see what happens. Fully diluted right now is 227 million. I feel like it may be slightly overvalued in the short term, because again, look at the token unlocks that we could potentially come down to lower levels. But then if you start looking for the value proposition that this team has, guys, it may not be so undervalued. That's the reality. So I'm stuck between looking at this as a business or as a token project. Basically, that's the discrepancy here. If you look at it as a business, guys, this is pretty good, right? If you look at it as a token project, okay, maybe slightly overvalued in the short term. So my verdict overall, it's built on the Binance Smart Chain. Just to summarize, we know that that's really good for trading fees. And as microtransactions, you don't want to be paying those high trading fees within a game. You want to get in, you want to get out. Okay, so that's pretty good. Gaming narrative, it's part of a very, very strong narrative. We've been talking about gaming for a long while. The market's been talking about gaming for a long while. And now we're talking about giving NFTs a facelift, essentially. NFTs were JPEGs. Now maybe NFTs are going to be far more than just a JPEG. They're going to be a digital asset that has use case and can provide value within a game and experience within a game. So that could be another value proposition for NFTs in general. And given the fact that they want to have their own marketplace, this is a positive thing going forward. It is new, guys. It is new. So we got to take this for a grain of salt. Everything that I'm saying here, at the end of the day, we got to be aware that this is a very new project. And look at this, right? I think that we're really early. Like, this is a project that has a lot of good things going for it within its only few months of life. So pretty good overall. We have to keep that in the back of our mind that it's still very new. It uses proof of stake consensus mechanism. Okay, a bit of negativity there. There's always negatives and drawbacks between proof of stake and proof of work. But generally speaking, if you're bullish, you know what I mean, and you understand what proof of stake is, I would suggest that you do a bit of research. If you don't, it's not a bad thing. It's a growing trend. In fact, I've been seeing a bit of a trend almost going back to proof of work, but that's only based on the pressures of the SEC. And that's my opinion, guys. Obviously, so all this is my opinion. None of this is financial advice, but I feel like the overall transition lately in the last few months back to proof of work is this basically based on the pressure that the SEC is putting on some of these basically companies. Okay, distribution through emissions, investing periods unlocked. So take a look at that. That could be the negativity that a lot of people are talking about. The sell pressure given as more tokens are released in circulation, risk of dilution, of course. Ecosystem is growing with 4 or 5 games already in the works. So that is really, really good. I feel like, again, that ecosystem, as it grows, the utility will be improved and the tokens will be absorbed as they get unlocked. So there's a counterbalance here, right? And those 10 billion tokens, they're going to be necessary if this thing becomes even remotely near as EA Sports or some of those other big platform name, household name games, right? Some type of thing. So trading volume is decent. I'm happy with that. 10%, 10 to 50% is usually my area of interest of good bullishness. So that's good. Token unlocks are getting quickly absorbed. We've seen that in the past. So that's the thing. In the short time that it's been around, we've already had some token unlocks. The tokens got unlocked, but the price keeps on going higher. That shows you that the general market is interested and they are buying the dip really aggressively and not letting the price fall. Now, again, price wise, I'm a bit on the fence, and we'll talk about price action in a short second. Team is fully doxed on LinkedIn. So very, very important there, guys. Being fully doxed means that you're able to know exactly who is being a part of this team. And of course, as a proof of stake type of project, and at the end of the day, as a gaming project, there is a level of centralization and dependency on the team to do the right thing. And based on that fact, we want to know who those guys are. And luckily enough, they're heavyweights. They're an all-star team. So I am very happy about that. That is a really bullish thing overall. And their social media, their X activity is as expected, okay, and holding strong. There's nothing really, no red flags. The only issue that I had there was, if you want to get engaged on their Telegram, I don't even think you can post on their Telegram, on their official Telegram. And the Discord, although you might go in their general talk and start asking some questions, there's nobody there. There's not much engagement. There's no one of the team there really to help you out and ask any question or answer any questions. So for me, a little bit of a negative thing, but again, I don't know, their strategy or marketing strategy, I don't know how it's really working out for them, but not such a positive thing. Website needs a little bit of organization, but nonetheless, the white paper is perfect. Perfect. It's a really good stuff. The white paper makes up for the website not really having much. So you can basically say that the white paper is part of the website in general. So that's a given. And at the end of the day, the website is well defined. The white paper is well defined. So I really do like that. That's a positive thing for sure. And as I mentioned, the other socials, the Discord and all that needs a little bit more help with that engagement. Now, if we look at the price target, okay, just hear me out here for a second, because the price target for me, I was like, am I being too bullish here? Am I being too aggressive? And it could be that, some might argue $1, that's a $10 billion company, you're basically saying, because if all the tokens get into distribution at $1, you're looking at $10 billion token. And that's significant, right? And if you look at other projects, other layer ones, you're looking at 5 billion, you're looking at 10 billion. Yeah, and you're probably saying, how is this thing going to keep up with a layer one, right? But at the end of the day, if you think about it, the reality is this has a very similar characteristic as a layer one in the sense that it's a platform. It's a platform for many projects. And if you think of a game as being a project, at the end of the day, it's almost very similar to what the layer 1 has an advantage of. And the reason why layer 1s need so many tokens is because there are base layers. This is almost like a base layer in the concept that they are going to be producing many games that require this token. So the more games they release, the more tokens that they're going to need in this case, and the utility is going to go up. So I can understand why they would want so many tokens. And at the end of the day, if this thing does well, and if it becomes one of the major gaming projects out there, there's no reason why it can't go right up to the scale and be the heavyweight leader of all the gaming projects. And in the up and coming bull run, when the market cap, the total market cap, gets to, let's say, $5 trillion, there's no reason why we can't get back to a heavyweight type of price target of $10 billion evaluation, fully diluted. I don't see a reason why now. Now, if you look at Gala Games in the previous bull run, it reached pretty high. I think it was at about $3 billion, if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on this. At the end of the day, Gala Games did very well in the previous bull run, with nowhere near as much bullishness as Gala Games with regards to its team and its history, so or the team history and what it has to offer. So for me, I don't see a reason why $1, but a very modest way of thinking is, let's say GFAL can catch up to Gala at its current evaluation, which we know Gala has been taking a fat beating lately. Okay, so at its current evaluation at the bottom of a bear market, okay, you're looking at 26x easily. Okay, now what about if we get back to all-time highs? What about if, meaning all-time highs in a total market cap? Then what about if we exceed the total market cap, which we should, because we want a higher high here, right? Higher highs, higher lows. The trend is your friend. We're planning on keep on going up. We want to see this crypto space grow. Guys, I don't see why not we can't hit close to $1. Obviously, this is not an official price target. This is an idea of just saying, look, I'm expecting big things here. We'll keep an eye on the charts, of course. We'll keep an eye on, where we start to see exhaustion, big picture. And of course, the channel bread and butter is about trading and finding good risk to reward ratio opportunities. But overall, my rating right now is at about 9.5. It's probably the highest ranking that I've given a project for the last little while. But you have to keep in mind, we are looking at this as a business, and we need to give a bit of value to the team. The reality is everybody's got to eat, and they know their value. All right, guys, we'll take a look at this chart. So let's take a look at some of this price action. I know you're interested in some of this price action. Let's begin. Let's take a look at GFAL. What is GFAL looking like? Lately, guys, we got a nice breakout to the upside. It did look like a symmetrical triangle. In fact, I anticipated this breakout to the upside, but I am not a breakout trader, so I did not get into a long position. I wanted to get into that long position right around this chart. Guys, if you've been following me on the Discord, you know that this is where I wanted to enter. We came down with that wick. I did not fill my bag. Unfortunately, my orders did not get filled, and here we are at making those higher highs in price discovery. Okay, so let's look at this in a little bit more detail, guys. Obviously, join me live tonight at 7:30 Eastern. We can get into this for a lot more detail, and in fact, if you have any other projects that you want me to cover on the channel, feel free to join and request them live. But right now, we can see that GFAL is making that higher high, definitely breaking out of this consolidation, hitting that 1.618 extension level, which we made very clear on the channel. We talked about this live the other day. We swing high to swing low. This was the extension level. This is the 1.27. This is the 1.618 golden pocket. And in fact, if you kind of look in here, I do have that measured move out of the breakout from the opening of the wedge, and we broke out perfectly. And in price discovery, you got to understand, people are going to take profits because it is the riskiest place, especially right now. There's no confirmed bull market. Let's be real. No confirmed bull market. Bitcoin hasn't given us the signal just yet. We need a confirmation low. We need some sort of saying that the previous low was the low by recreating a higher low. If we create a higher low, guys, we know that was the low, and we're making higher lows, higher highs, and then the trend is your friend. To the upside, bull run, here we come. But we didn't get that just yet. So we got to be patient here, and I'm anticipating that the market is anticipating the same thing, that the retracement will be deep, that profit taking will be real, and this is why we're seeing a potential profit taking right now at 1.618 extensions, 1.27, because people want to de-risk, because where they're not confirmed, they're not, completely confident. So that's absolutely normal. We broke out here on the daily and got overbought really quickly, and we're back into overbought scenarios, creating that higher high. Perfect. Beautiful. Congratulations if we were able to get in anywhere around these zones. And as a breakout trader, guys, you're in a bit of risk because, again, we're kind of hesitating here. What about if we do roll over and back test the breakout? And this is where the majority of the market that we're bullish got into that long position. And guess what? The markets want to inflict max pain to the most amount of individuals. And the only place that is right now, as can be seen, is this breakout point because it's an easy target. You can see that lots of tops, lots of good breakout scenarios, low volume breakout, not much market participants getting into this breakout trade. So you're going to see potentially a back test here, low volume move, no price action on the VPVR. It could be very possible that we come back down and test the breakout point at about 2 cents, give or take. So of course I'm not trying to be bearish here. I'm just trying to be real with the scenario. We're overbought currently. The MACD, let me kind of scooch this up. The MACD is definitely stretched to the extremes right here, as we were in the past. It didn't really roll over just yet, so EMAs are still facing up with green histogram bars. It's likely that we could get a continuation to the upside in the short term, so it's very possible that we test liquidity at higher levels. But that wick, guys, that blow off type of scenario on the daily doesn't really look good. So for me, it's about risk management. I feel like it's a bit risky going into fresh longs right now. The time to go long was here, and at best on this back test right around this level, and that's why I have that green arrow, and this green arrow has been in here for a while. Guys, go check out the Discord. I post all my charts on the Discord so that we can kind of back test this strategy and make sure we're doing the right thing. Okay, sometimes the orders don't get filled, sometimes things don't happen, and it's part of the game. It's part of the game. You can't cry over spoiled milk. At the end of the day, you're just going to move forward and find another entry, whether it be GFAL or another project. At the end of the day, we look for entries, but I'm bullish, guys. I'm bullish, but I don't want to buy the top. That's the reality. Let's get into the 4 hour for a second. The 4 hour, basically, it ran up nice. It got overbought again on the 4 hour, and you can see that we're getting a Class B bearish divergence as we speak, as we got rejected at the 1.618. And I think right now where we're consolidating is pretty much the, if I can kind of scooch over, yeah, it's the 1.27 extension level. So we're respecting that level significantly. Now, the reason why I call it Class B is you can see the price action is going sideways, and we have to exclude wicks when you do divergences because the R side does not include wicks. And you can see that the price action is down, the momentum is downward sloping. That's Class B bearish divergence, and it's likely that we consolidate here and eventually maybe roll over. Guys, it's not time for me to get into fresh longs, obviously, not financial advice. This can consolidate and break out and continue to the upside. Now let's see if the 4 hour gets oversold. If the 4 hour gets oversold, the MACD right now, EMA is facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, so looking a bit bearish. The RSI is slowly trekking to that oversold scenario, maybe on the 4 hour. Let's see how low we can go. If we get down to oversold scenarios, guys, maybe we start getting in for a long position here on the 4 hour. But right now, you can see we're leaving the overbought scenario, trying to get to oversold. And if we get oversold, the next area to potentially look for support is right around this zone, because this is where we begin a good portion of volume to act as support. Let's see. Let's kind of zoom out a little bit. And if you exclude a bit of that price action, you can see this is the beginning of a potential level of support. We have the 200 EMA on the 4 hour creeping up, trying to catch up here so that it can act as support as well as backup. So let's see what kind of back test we get upon the breakout target, which is at about, again, 2 cents. If we come back to 2 cents and the 4 hour is fully oversold, it may be a good opportunity to spot that bullish divergence to get into a position on the 4 hour. But the daily, guys, the daily right now is way overbought. If you go long on the 4 hour, you got to get in and you got to get out. The reason being is because we're overbought on the daily. And what about if the daily finally gets exhausted of holding up on this level? The bulls get exhausted, we get some bearish divergence here, and then we start rolling over. So you don't want to be exit liquidity, even if it's on the 4 hour. If you get it on the 4 hour, get out on the 4 hour. Anticipate that this will get exhausted eventually, and enjoy any gains that you can get on the 4 hour. And then eventually, when we starts to see bigger weakness on the daily, we can start getting into more TPs and potentially short positions, guys. That's the reality. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, here on this channel, we keep objective. I don't care how bullish the project is. If the price action is showing me weakness, I want to ride those ebb and flows up and down, those peaks and valleys up and down, so I can accumulate and buy those dips. Guys, if you appreciated this video, do the channel a huge favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. Join me live at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that's the greatest time and place to suggest them, and we can talk about them as a community. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.